What's up, everyone? This is Tom from I Got Soul here. Getting ready to do this interview with John B. He'll be joining shortly. If I Got Soul. We're excited about this one. John B is our guy, a good friend of ours. And definitely one of our most popular artists on the site. So, it's always fun to talk to him. We talked to him last year on our podcast, Soulback R&B podcast, for those of you who check that out. And definitely going to talk to him about any new music he's got going on and how he's holding up in the quarantine, and touch on some of the history like we always do. So John is here. Let's do this thing.
How you doing, man? How you doing,
John,
bro?
what's up, man? How are you?
I'm well, man. I'm good. I'm holding up good, man. My
That's awesome.
my family's healthy. We're all healthy. We can't complain.
That's
Yeah,
great to hear, man. I really appreciate you taking out some time as always for us, to talk to us on the site and, all of our readers.
absolutely, man. Always a beautiful thing to be with you, man, and talk to you, man. And yeah, thanks for always having my back too. You already know, man.
Absolutely.
Thomas.
Gotta say, man, I love what you're doing with this Vibes Select Cafe, man. Not only is it dope that you're, putting on these concerts every week, which is special, but man, it's like a love letter to your fans, like just showing them love and appreciation in a time when they need that. So that's why it's so special to us. So talk about doing that.
I mean, it's what I can do right now, in this time where, let me see. I mean, there's just so much going on that that is just hard to speak about, in terms of like the negatives that you see out there in the world today. Not just the coronavirus, but just so many things. So to have a little love in your life right now, positive little, just a little message for the day, of like, life is sweet. Don't forget, life is sweet. Close your eyes and remember if you have to. But yeah, man, that's sort of like my way of giving something back to the world that, especially the people that have blessed me so much with, like yourself, like, and everyone out there who's listening. Thank you so much for allowing me to live my dreams out, because it starts off, you make the music, and then it takes the listeners, you guys, to support the music and to go out and actually support it and buy the song and make it successful, come to a show, all of that. So yeah, man, it's thank you so much, and it goes without saying that it's because of you guys that I'm still able to do it to this day. So yeah, I wanted to do that. That was my way of saying thank you for all of this.
No. And I really think about artists like yourself in a time like this, when we're in this social distancing and quarantine, where you spend so much of your time on the road doing shows every weekend, just about performing. And now you can't do that. It's a piece of your livelihood. So, I mean, how is it, how you cope with that, and making it by?
That's what is such an amazing thing about this time right now. It's almost like the universe just said, hold on, everybody, take just a breather for a second. I want, this earth, Mother Nature, she's, it's I don't know if, like, what we needed to do, specifically, because I'm not a scientist, but I do know that the wildlife is coming back out. Here in California, we have like animals starting to be seen because of all the lack of man being around. What I mean? Mother Nature is sort of like equalizing itself, it would seem like to me. And I feel like that's a beautiful thing, to know that there's such a change going on right now in the world, that just to be a part of this time is just like, I mean, my mom has never experienced anything like this. My grandmother, who's 108, has never experienced living through the quarantine, man, like just like us, and 108 and holding it down. She, so my thing is like, this is a very, very, it's a very serious time. And I don't, the main thing that's is scaring me is that I don't feel like people are taking it serious. I don't feel like people are staying inside. And I mean, the reason why I'm really doing these quarantine videos and the Vibes Select Cafe is to encourage people to stay inside. Without being like, stay inside, be afraid and all that. Like, that's not the way I do it. I'm gonna do it like, hey, like, stay inside so I can sing to you a little bit.
Yeah.
We can vibe a little bit, and And so, yeah, that's my encouragement to everybody is stay with your family. And what a beautiful thing to be around our families right now, too. Through whatever the madness is, whatever's going on out there in the world, what an amazing thing it is to get a little time out on all the responsibilities of the work,
Yeah.
play, and all of that, and just to say, okay, I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna watch on the television today, or what I'm gonna, do with my little girls today. We're gonna draw pictures today. We're gonna do some,
Nice.
family activity that engages. Lately I've been making songs with my daughter, my 12-year-old. She's got a
Wow.
laptop and she's got Logic on her laptop, so I'm able to kind of like show her. And she loves the ukulele, so she's been writing songs with her ukulele. And I've been helping her get it down, and she plays to the tempo, and she knows how to keep it in time, and she records a whole little song. And I told her, okay, now we're gonna make the beat now, and let's show her how to make the beat. And yeah, so I mean, I haven't even had the time to do any of these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, this is a special time for me, man. Like, I needed this more than anything. It was
Awesome.
like just time with my family.
That's amazing, man. I don't think we ever got to properly celebrate the music you gave us last year. I mean, understand what Donnell Jones, we picked that as our #1 song of the year in R&B last year. And we listened to how much music we listened to, and that was the best song we heard. Not only was it an amazing song, but the fact that you guys came together to do that was really special, a special moment for R&B, because we love seeing artists like yourselves come together, man. Just reflect on putting that single together, man.
Thank you so much, man. That means so much to me, man. The fact that it made sense to the folks who really know about R&B too. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
to be acknowledged in any way is a beautiful thing. I don't make my music with the intention to win an award or to get the accolades. I make the music because I was raised on such great music. It's like it's an innate process in me. It's just
Right.
That's what I do is I make this music. I make what I love, and to be able to share the moment with someone that you have respect for and that you see is also has just as much time in the game as you have, and we're both raising kids. I mean, there's a lot of similarities and parallels to Donnell Jones and myself. So the song made sense for so many different reasons. Soul Train Awards 2018 was just about one of the greatest performances I can ever remember, man. In my career, you have some of those times in your career that you can look back. Well, at least myself, I know there's only very few that I can look back on. I'm like, oh God, I'm not cringing on what I wore or whatever, where everything was just right, and like you sang it right and everything. Anyways, to make a long story short, that Soul Train Awards 2018, I sang They Don't Know and Someone to Love. And it was a tremendous win for me. I felt very, very good about that. And Donnell performed, he did his thing as well. And he just murdered it as well. And we both felt like really nervous about doing it backstage. So to be able to kind of come together backstage and say, hey man, kill it out there, have some fun with it, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah man, too, bro. And then we both did that, and to see that energy was so good. I remember after I was like, yeah, all right, okay, I can't wait to see the playback on that one. Like, and sure enough, like it was everything I remember in my mind when it was going down, because it's like a blur while you're performing. And the love was in the building, so tough, man. So I really wanted to kind of go back to that energy, the love that I felt in the room, in terms of like the people and what that gave me, and like how solid that made me feel as a person now, especially at 45, doing this 25 years in the game. I need that love more than ever, but more so, I want to show the listener that I have something to give you that as a grown man is different than what I gave you as a young man.
Yeah.
Because what I have to give you now is like, you ain't seen nothing yet. You haven't seen this guy yet. So You know, that's the thing, is like the refinement, the growth, the maturity, all of that. I hope that it speaks through the music, you know, and I hope that it speaks through my performances and through the interviews, and you know, just through me doing me, you know. Yeah.
Well, let me touch on the music you gave us as a young man real quick, because we're about to celebrate the 25th anniversary of your debut, Bonafide.
Yeah.
What do you remember about creating that as a younger kid?
Bonafide was the beginning of the dream, you know, just materializing literally, beyond the production aspect of me just being, you know, actually in the studio. Finally get to go to a big studio with a big board and record my songs from, you know, that I made in my mom's front bedroom, in my studio in my mom's front bedroom, to take those same songs that were on a demo on an ADAT and get to throw them down on a 2-inch reel-to-reel tape and big old SSL board, and every sound was like, I mean, going through like a, you know, a $10,000 preamp, you know what I mean? So like having like the level of the quality of the sound was something that was so impressive to me at that age, and to experience it that for the first time, just that alone, making the album, was so fun. Was so you know, such um, a memory that I will never forget. I'll always go back to the studios that I recorded at, you know, the rooms, what they looked like,
Nice.
all of the instruments that were there, you know, the types of, you know, equipment that I was using, you know, and also the people that I was collaborating with. You know, back then, Bonafide was my first album, so Babyface, Tracy Edmonds, you know, those people were, you know, crucial to that album. But they brought in some seasoners, like Bootsy Collins came in from
Yeah.
Funkadelic, you know what I mean, and Parliament, you know, and man, I mean, he brought that Parliament Funkadelic to Silver Melody song, and it was just so like out of left field, and it was a beautiful thing because I didn't have a plan. I didn't have like, okay, this is going to be my style. And it was more or less they helped me find that style. They helped me zero in on the records that they really were feeling would be the real nice fit to put together for as an album, cohesive album.
Right.
And it was very eclectic, if you ask me. It was
Definitely
very
was.
eclectic,
Definitely.
very like not just the average R&B album. And I don't feel like Kenny and Tracy wanted to make me the average R&B artist. I felt like they had a sort of a world idea of like, let's go a little bit more George Michael's world kind of pop element.
Yeah.
And that's cool because that's cool because no one really existed in that element but George Michael's at that point. I wanted to go, of course, a lot more R&B than that. I wanted to be a lot more, you know, like one of the people that would have come out of Babyface's camp. I mean, at that point, you had Tony Braxton, you had Tevin Campbell, you had After Seven, you had, you know, all of that, Karen White, you had all that beautiful music, and I was an incredible fan of all that stuff too. So to just be a fly on the, you know, fly on the wall of a session of TLC during that time, you know, and you know, but it all happened. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience to have Babyface as a as not only as a mentor but a coach on the side to say, okay, yeah, this one, yeah, you could record the vocal again, but keep those backgrounds because I like those backgrounds. And, you know, don't change nothing about the track, or oh, we're
Yep.
gonna add a snare to that track, or add a snare to that track, or change the kick on that, or redo your backgrounds on that, make them real, real nice. You know, and he would just be so encouraging. So, yeah, that was the absolute greatest album, if you ask me, in terms of it has something that no other of my albums have, which is that innocence of this being the first time. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
Love it. And something people don't really give you credit for is that you were a singer, songwriter, and producer from day one, you know, from your beginning of the industry. You know, and
yeah.
throughout your albums, you carried that with you and honed those skills and improved upon them. But from the beginning, you were writing for other artists, you know, producing your own work. Where did you get those skills from?
Well, I grew up in a musical family. My mother is a pianist, and my father is also a musician as well. But we really took music seriously, and they took it seriously as to invest in my dreams at a young age. You know, equipment cost money. It was expensive to have a synthesizer. It was expensive to have a drum machine. So they say, hey man, if you save up your birthday money, you know what I mean, you save
Yeah.
up Christmas money, put it all together, one day you get a keyboard and maybe I'll help you out, you know, with the difference or whatever, you know. And it's
Mhm.
like, man, Dad, that's all that my dream come true, you know. So I just saved up for a Roland TR-505. You know, I saved up for a you know, a Casio CZ-101, you know, and those were the first sort of tools that I had until I sold those and upgraded and got a sequencer keyboard workstation that was called the ESQ1. It was the Ensoniq, and I started making my music on that. And that was just right around when I really started to get really heavy into R&B, because I always did every style of music. I did everything from rock and sort of like electronic kind of stuff, weirder stuff, um, to R&B. So, and even jazz and stuff. So like that process of finding myself through electronic music was also very crucial, because of, you know, that being sort of like so different at the time. It um it was a lot, a leap of faith from my parents to really say, okay, well, gosh, that's a lot of money, and you know, are you you better be sure about this. You know, it's like it's either that, you know, this keyboard, or you know, you're gonna you never have a Christmas present for the next 5 years. You know,
Yeah. Wow.
literally, because, and you know, and that was the case, and that was fine with me, because I was like, listen, I'm trying to get my career started right now. I'm trying to get this going, and they're like, wow, you're only 9.
Yeah. Wow.
But you know, it is what it is. It's a beautiful thing when you're focused, and to be able to have encouragement um is crucial, you know. So that being the case, they helped me with my equipment. The demos got made, and you know, I was a young learner with the business. I said, man, I'm gonna go around and just shop my tape myself, you know. And,
Right.
you know, that's what happened. I got it into Babyface, and he was the one who signed me with Tracy Edmonds, and the rest is history. Put me down with someone to love, and began the process, you know, of this beautiful process of making music and getting it to you guys, you know.
You were doing some songwriting before your album even came out. You know, what was that part like? Was there pressure on you at that time to perform, to get to, you know, to create great music for other artists so you can get your own album out?
Yeah, well, the thing is like, now that I was sort of signed as an artist, it's like, okay, now it's your turn. And so watching Kenny perform, Babyface perform, watching Boys to Men perform right after I just finished them record those same songs right
Yeah.
in front of them, you know, and to go watch them perform, because I remember he had his show that he was doing where it was Tony Braxton, Boys to Men, and Babyface. And this is right when he dropped for the cool, you know, for the Cool and You with you know, for the Cool and You album had Never Keeping Secrets on it. It was
Yep.
really one of my favorite albums. But it's right when I came aboard, and you know, getting to watch that process happen, both in the studio, and also be somebody, you know, that got to watch the rehearsals, you know, in the rehearsal for the live show. I got to come to the rehearsals. He was
Yeah.
really cool with me, man. He's like, yeah, I'm not even old enough to be up in these spots, because I wasn't even 21 yet.
Wow.
And he's like, come on, come to Vegas and watch me rock with, you know, with my band. And I want you to see what this is. And so I'll never forget that. That was really, really nice of him to do that. And that allowed me to see, okay, this is what you need to do. So I remember by the time I was performing at the House of Blues right here in, you know, in LA, you know, in on Sunset right here in Hollywood, man, it's not there anymore. But
Yeah.
I remember when shows went down there, man, and you know, that was the first big shows that I ever did were there, you know, and it was an amazing experience to do it for your first time, and
Yeah.
to really take yourself seriously, because they're taking you seriously. Like, yeah, okay, this is, because half of performing is really you guys too. You know, it's really the way that it's the energy that you give us. Otherwise, if the room is just dead still, and I feel like the artist is sort of like, you could still do a great performance that way, but it's pulling from a different place. it's pulling from an internal place where you're just sort of a musician up there and singing your song, you know, and that's
Right.
beautiful. And both are beautiful experiences, but there's something really really special about kind of like the experience about, you know, having that reciprocal kind of feeling where
Yeah.
I give you something, you give me it back. You know, that makes it that's like a drug almost. And
Yeah.
it's the first time getting that is like, man, the first time losing your virginity or something. It's like
Yeah.
there's nothing like that, you know. And that's why it gets the best of people. You know what I mean? That's why people want that adulation and that fame so bad, because of that drug that it is.
Mm.
But when you grow up experiencing both sides, the the studio grinder, the one who's just in there like an engineer, just spending hours upon hours, just making sure that the song is right, to the
Right.
guy like studying all like the choreography and the chords and figuring out how every song is going to be arranged to the live show for the live show, you know, how you can perform it, what you gonna say between each song, all of that, you know. It's a whole process to it. And once you learn it and you start doing it, implementing it, man, it's like it's a beautiful process. It's
Right.
exciting. Never gets boring, you know.
That's amazing, man. Now, we're talking about the Bonafide album because it's turning 25. So you participated in this article we did about top 5 songs of yours that should have been singles. And for those who haven't checked out the
Yeah.
article, John picked Isn't It Scary, Can't Help It, Finer Things, Overjoyed, and Through the Fire. But I want to touch on Isn't It Scary, you know, because that's on Bonafide. Man, that was some heavy subject matter for a young kid. You know, that's a deep song, you know, and for a young man. Remember that one?
Yeah, man. You know that honestly that was really inspired by a lot of Isley Brothers. You know,
Mm.
The Isley Brothers groove is I don't necessarily, I can't really put my finger on the actual record,
Right.
but I know the feeling of it is very, the two things that it makes me think of is Shaka Khan, and it makes me think of the Isley Brothers. And the reason why is because Rufus, they had such groovy like kind of mid-tempo ballads. Like when you think about Sweet Thing, the song Sweet Thing
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
you know, Rufus Shaka Khan. It's just got such a beautiful, simple, repetitive chord progression that is just, it's very simple, you know, and it's lovely. It's just a lovely sound. And that I got stuck kind of like in that place of, you know, that sound of kind of like trying to almost personify what the Ozzies were doing with like records like Footsteps in the Dark, you know, with the groove where it's like dun, 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 dun. It's got a little shuffle to it. Or even like Voyage to Atlantis, you know, it's just all their records have this very hypnotic quality to it where as soon as you put the groove on, the groove just makes you go, wow, like that, you know, a head nod, and you're just kind of like you're intoxicated by it. So like, you know, Isn't It Scary really started off kind of like a groove that turned into me figuring out what I was going to write about. Because I came up with the hook first and I said, Isn't it scary how you here with me and not with your man at home? And it's like, I'm basically putting it all out there at that point. I'm basically saying, okay, the theme is going to be about sweeping a girl off her feet. Um, in the process, she has a man. She's in a relationship. Now, at that point, I'm probably about 17 at this point. I wrote the record.
That's what I'm saying.
So I feel like what I was writing, the perspective that I was writing from was like, I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
You know, I saw all the grown-ups doing their thing. Like I was like, man, I want to romance a chick, take her out for dinner and be able to like say something nice to her, and you know what I mean, have her be like, yo, okay, you're the man, you know.
Yeah.
Like that, I wanted to feel that. I was 17, I was a young man, so I was like, you know, what if I was the one to steal the girl, you know, and I put myself in that position, and that at that age it seemed very sort of like kind of naughty, if you will,
Yeah.
like kind of like, you know, okay, you be a little bit, you know, slick with it, aren't you? You
Yeah.
know, at that point, you know, it's I love that song because there's a lot of Johnny Gill influence in that song as well.
Mm.
In terms of my tonality, the way that things runs that I'm doing, the way that I'm thinking about, you know, vocals on that song are very Marvin Gaye. It's very Isley, and it's very, yeah. So I love to talk about my influences because that's the ingredients that made the music. You know what I mean? In terms of like made inspired the music, and
Right.
if it wasn't for those artists and that connection that I have to this music, you know, I don't feel like the song would have come off the way that it did. And I programmed the beat, I made the chords, you know, I made the bass line on there. So there's lots of elements to that song when you listen to it. It's got a simplicity though that I want to get back to. That I love the fact that it's just a rim shot and a kick, like, you know, and that's enough, you know. So I'd like to get back, and
Dope.
that's what exciting is exciting about the new music is I'm getting back to my, you know, the nuts and bolts of what really put the foundation together of my music through the years, and like understand is a definitely return to that, you know. Priceless is sort of an upgrade version of what
Yeah.
we had going on, 2020 version, you know. But there's other material that is going to take you back to that groove. I'm getting back to my groove again, you know what I mean,
Right.
in terms of my that stuff you want to just put on and just kind of let it play in the background while you do whatever you're doing.
Dope. Dope. You know, I love the album track Bonafide. You know, I don't know if that's anyone else's favorite, but man, it sounds like nothing else out there to me that I've heard
Wow, I
ever,
got
pretty much. I don't know if
Bonafide is
it'll be a
crazy.
single,
That
but I
lets
love
you
it.
know what an influence hip hop is on me. You know, I
Mm.
grew up like a lot of East Coast influence in terms of hip hop. You know, primarily East Coast because the music just it really it spoke to me musically. Like with the first time I ever heard Eric B and Rakim, I was just shook. I was like, that's the dopest. Some of the best hip hop I've ever heard, and still to this day that I've ever heard. You know, like in terms of lyrics, Rakim is one of the most precise, articulate MCs. You know, and so that being sort of like the bar that was set for you know, East Coast hip hop, I was definitely tuned into East Coast hip hop a lot. And
Yeah.
so one of the bands that I would grew up being entirely just like so inspired by was Tribe Called Quest. And you know, there was a whole unit in Tribe Called Quest that was sort of like this is the native tongue, basically, is what it
Mm.
was. And you know, you had everybody from, um, you know, oh my God, um, right now I'm basically I'm trying to think of specifically the record. So basically, Jungle Brothers is who I'm thinking of. Jungle Brothers, Tribe Called Quest, um, Brand Nubian was also a part of this as well. And so the whole thing was that sound, you know, that was what I was trying to sort of personify on, you know, even Diggable Planets as well. I mean,
Mm.
there's a little bit, but there was this jazz bass that was happening in music that was being used a lot in Tribe Called Quest stuff. Black Sheep used it. There was a lot of people using upright bass, and it was like this very jazzy sound. Digable Planets used it on their songs, and it was like this,
Yeah.
boom, 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 you know, that jazzy sound. So what I did was take the jazz bass and sort of do this song, boom, 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 and it was chords like if you were on an upright bass playing the chords, like just the
Yeah.
chords between two strings. You know what I mean? Like, and it's nice because no one was telling me what to do or how to do it or say, "Oh man, you should do this type of track." I was just doing this off of just this
Wow.
type of track I want to make it. You know, so
Yeah.
I made that track. It was the last track I expected Babyface, you know, and the evidence to get. I didn't realize that they would get that side of my, you know, side of my
Yeah.
spirit. They were like, no, 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 we love that. Like that's especially something that we want to show people. So we feel like that needs to be like the first song on the album, and we should call that. Bonafide. I was
Wow,
like, what?
that's epic.
It blew my mind. It blew my mind. So yeah, I mean, because what it was I was getting to show all the sides from the very beginning, and whether that was too much or not, it's what we did, and
Yeah,
that was a very courageous move to make, and not at all contrived at all. It was before it was being told to anyone that these things were going to be, you know, okay, that they were going to work.
yeah,
It was like we were taking big risks, we really were, and I appreciate that to have sort of been the guinea pig. We
yeah,
got put out there first, and like, all right, get out there, let's see how this goes. I mean, because I was sitting there going, I don't know how this is gonna work. You know what I mean? I'm singing "Someone's Love with You" on the same album that I'm doing the song "Bonafide" on. How is this gonna be?
yeah.
And just do it. Just do it. This is what we're gonna do. And I was like, all right. So I've been making records ever since like that. I feel like you gotta do that. You gotta that's
Yeah,
what sort of drove me. That's what drove me to work with Tupac. I mean, that's what essentially was like when my man Bezo called me up and said, "Hey, come down. Pac wants to meet you. We're at the How Do You Want It video shoot." I was like, I'm there because I knew what was going to come from that. I knew that I had the music to play from him for him. You know what I mean? To inspire him. And if I had the chance to be in the studio with him, he was working with good folks. My dudes, Casey and JoJo. He had them in the studio. He had Johnny J in the studio. So I knew Pac, had an open mind. He was ready. He wasn't just like, oh, I need
yeah.
hip hop cats in the studio. He's like, no, I want to do some. I want to make some classic music with some dope guys. So yeah, I just like, man, I'm over there, man. Let me know where to be. I'm there, and that's what happened. So
That's amazing, man. Thanks for sharing those stories. So
absolutely, you already know.
I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'm going to ask you one more question, and then if we can, I'll take a fan question. So if anyone has a question that's listening in, drop it in the chat. I'll look out for it.
Yeah,
My
thank
last
you for tuning in too. Yeah,
yeah,
show.
my last question for you. I always got to ask about new music. So R&B lovers are not the patient type at times. It's been since Comfortable Swag, a few years. Tell us about, and we know you're equipped to handle this quarantine because you can do it all, write, produce, and sing.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing also about being home is I can finish this album and get the
Yeah,
mixes going. I was counting on doing a lot of the mixing out you know out out of the house and in other people's studios and doing a lot more collaborating. But I feel like it's more important to get an album to you guys than it is to go and try to make the songs like maybe a tier, just a slight tier above what with someone else that I could do on my own. I feel
yeah,
like even better when you do it yourself because nobody could do it like you can, and it's sort of a signature that way. And
yeah,
I feel like you got to really have the courage to do it yourself, because at this point in the game, at this stage in the game, you're not doing things to just sort of throw out there. It's nothing that I do is at this point is sort of like, okay, here you go. It's not like that. That's not why I waited 6 years to put this record out.
yeah.
I've obsessed over these songs, and it's
Oh,
also,
man.
and it's also been a process of elimination in terms of like what song means the most for what reason, like what's valid, what would work the best right now, like what do people need right now. Let's see, I have like 30 songs I have to pick from right now. Not only finished songs, but also beats and like the ways that feelings I want to have. Like I don't want to leave something out that might be something crucial for the album. So yeah, I'm in the actual. I'm like 95% done, and I'm
Oh,
so excited. Yeah, I'm almost ready for release. The only thing that's holding everything up is this third video. Now we've shot two videos. Both are available. I want everybody to check out my videos for Priceless, and also for Understand featuring Donnell Jones. I want to film a video for the new single, which is I'm gonna give you the name because you guys have been so patient and it's so appropriate. The name of the song, the next single, is called "Waiting on You," and it has been so long. This has been longer than any other album that I've ever taken to deliver, and it's been a labor of love. It's been an absolute labor of love. It's it's gonna be for you guys to decide on what you feel this album represents. But I know for me, it represents manhood. It represents being a father, being a well seasoned
Yeah.
husband now, and somebody kind of like who's adjusted to all of that. And now, kind of, I grab my swagger back. You know, I feel
Mhm.
like this is actually the album, the return of not sort of like the guy who's adjusting still to married life and adjusting to being a father, but like now the well seasoned vet, you know, in the games. I know what I'm doing, you know what I mean? I just had to get my bearings back to
Yeah.
so what's needed too. Because I like to give the game sort of like something that it's missing or something it doesn't have exactly, you know, sort of like hits you from the left field a little bit. So yeah, I mean, get ready because it's something special. It's something special. This album's gonna take you on a journey through time periods as well. Like I'm not just keeping it 2020. It's gonna take you back to the 90s. You know, it's gonna take you back to the 80s. It's gonna take you back
Wow.
to the 70s. So yeah, it's got a little bit of something for everybody, all ages, and yeah, it's gonna be dope.
That's amazing, man. You know, we're all looking forward to it. And
As soon as the quarantine is done, man, I get out there. As soon as the quarantine is over, we're gonna
yeah,
get out there video for this thing and present it properly to you.
dope.
Um, but until then, please go support the new singles, everybody. Understand, we need your support. I need your support. You know, I want to see your support um, because that's the greatest payoff as a songwriter is to is to watch you. I want to big up my man Tim Carter, who co-wrote that song with me, and he's an amazing vocalist and artist himself and songwriter. He actually produced all of Will Smith's vocals for the Aladdin movie, and he's worked with Beyonce. He's worked extensively with Willow Smith, and yeah, he's a vocal phenomenon and a fantastic dude, and he deserves to get bigged up because we kind of got together on the Understand track, and I was like, man, I want you to help me write these verses, bro, because I got the hook already, but I need these verses to be something special. And when he came up with the Donnell's part, I was like, because we didn't have any intention on writing it for Donnell, but he wrote that part. I said, man, that sounds like Donnell, man.
Yeah.
We got to get this to Donnell. We got to get this to Donnell, man. So yeah, and he's like, man, that sounds like a great idea. So yeah, big up Tim Carter. Salute you, King, and stay safe, everybody out there, man. And please support the Understand song featuring Donnell Jones. Big up Donnell Jones. You know, thank you so much for being a part of this record as well, my bro. You already know. And but I gotta say it again so that people know that the gratitude is there, man. You know, and when artists come together like this in this time, it shows the love that you know, like the Babyface and Teddy Riley thing. To see that love and that camaraderie after all these years, to watch Teddy turn into a young man, trying to get his beats heard. You know what I mean? And Babyface, humbling himself with all of his accolades, taking all that, down to be on the level of being able to just be in front of people and say, hey man, listen, check this out, on some down to earth stuff. That is absolutely incredible for me to have been a witness to that kind of camaraderie and respect, because that says a lot about R&B music, man. That says a lot about R&B music, what we're really about. It's about love, baby. Like, don't get it twisted. We all got our egos. We all got our personas. But what are the theme and the root behind what we do is love. And I think that's something that we have that's very special about our music. The fact that we stick together like we do. So let's keep sticking together like we do, y'all, because we got to keep this tradition alive and hand it down to the next generation. You know what I mean?
100%. And I just want to take this last question, John, from one of your fans. There was a lot of good questions that came through here, but the one I decided to take, it was from Operation Elevation. They asked, what was the hardest song of yours that for you to write, the most challenging for you to write?
Wow. Well, it's gonna take me a second. Let me think. The hardest one to write. Well, I think probably one of the most advanced songs that I ever did was the song "Gone Before Light"
Mhm.
on my first album. Um, and the reason why it was so advanced was because I arranged um, a string arrangements for my sister and for my brother and for my father to all play. Little basically string trio, and record the string trio a bunch of times to make it sound like an orchestra in the background.
Yeah.
So that process, doing that with my family, first you figure out how to get the music transcribed, and I had someone help me with that part of it. But I came up with I scored it out basically with the keyboard, and I had someone transcribe the music, and so that was pretty advanced for like 19 years old, and going and doing your first album. That process, recording the strings, setting them up and having all the mics, and it was pretty exciting, man. It's like it felt very, very sophisticated,
Yeah.
and I love recording live instruments. Period. Um, but when you get to involve your family in it, and your sister,
Yeah.
he plays the violin. My brother plays the cello, and my father plays the viola. So they all played strings on the song "Gone Before Light." So, and I left a part at the end so where you could hear just them on the record. So if you go back to that song and check out "Gone Before Light," that's my family on the album.
Wow. I gotta listen to that again and listen for that part. That's dope.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So, John, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I'll let you go back to the family. Anything you'd like to add before we get out of here?
Man, I just want to send all my love and all my prayers out to every one of you guys, man. And kiss your babies, hug your wives, hug your girlfriends, your boyfriends, hug your family, your mother. You know what you mean? If you can, if you can be. I can't hug my mom right now, and I can't hug my dad right now because we're quarantining. My mom's at high risk, and yeah, I'm trying to keep her safe and just so to be able to do that, don't take that for granted, y'all. Like, go and hug your, especially because it's been Mother's Day. I hope you were able to. If not, then even just a Skype, like a kite, anything. Just the message of love right now it goes a long way, man. It really does. Especially when we all got to stay inside. But my biggest thing I want to tell everybody, please just stay inside right now. It's not about you having it. It's about you not knowing that you could be a carrier of it and then carrying it in someone else that is not healthy like you are, who obviously can carry it and not get sick or to not show the symptoms. That could kill them. It could kill them. So like literally, it's kind of like drunk driving in a sense at this point. I'm not leaving the house for myself unless it's absolutely an emergency. I'm talking about like there ain't no toilet paper in the house, something like
Yeah.
that. Real talk. Like, and that's real because honestly, that's what I can do right now. Um, as my contribution besides everything else that I'm trying to do right now with my music and with just providing my spirit right now for anybody that's out there that really needs it. I send you my love, man. I send you my love in this time where I know love is sort of like kind of like a suffering commodity, isn't it? Because you don't really need it until you really, really
Yeah.
need it. And we really need it, man. So love somebody. Love somebody however you can. We all need it, man. Love somebody, though. All right?
Amazing, man. Amazing. So, and anyone who tuned in late to this interview, it'll be on our live for the next 24 hours. After that, it'll be on our website, IGotSoul.com. So log on, check it out. Make sure you go and support John Thursday nights, Vibe Select Cafe, live
Yeah.
concert series, and check out his new singles if you haven't seen them. Understand and Priceless, and the new one's on the way. We're excited about that.
Definitely,
So,
man. And if you got any requests, everybody give me a request because that's the special thing about Vibes Select Cafe is I'm taking requests, and then you get to see me do those requests on the next week. And if I don't do it this week, maybe next week. You know what I mean? But I'm I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna let you do it, man. You tell me, I'm gonna play it. All right.
dope.
So,
And John, I gotta thank you again, man. So much love and respect. Appreciate you for always taking the time out and making us, such great music, man. Love what you do.
Love what you do, my brother, and thank you so much for having the heart that you have, man. And all the best
Yeah.
to your family and everything, man. So you guys stay safe. and just love, you know what I mean? All love in the highest, man. Stay
Appreciate
well.
that, John. Same to you and your family, man. We'll talk soon.
Take care. Love you,
All right,
everybody.
take care.
Peace.
Peace.